Mike Wolfe remembers dreamer Frank Fritz in heartbreaking post. It's with a broken heart that I share with all of you that Frank passed away last night. He captioned a photo of himself and Frank. I've known Frank for more than half my life, and what you've seen on TV has always been what I have seen. A dreamer who was just as sensitive as he was funny. The same off-camera as he was on. Frank had a way of reaching the hearts of so many by just being himself. Frank and Mike worked side by side on the History Channel's American Pickers, from its premiere in 2010 through the 2020 season, when he seemingly disappeared from the show. Rumors swirled that he and Mike had had a falling out, and then Frank went public with details of the feud. Eventually, word came that Frank was experiencing myriad health issues, including back surgery, Crohn's disease, and a stroke, and that he and Mike had settled their disputes in the process. Who would have ever dreamed we would share the cockpit of a white cargo van in front of millions of people interested in our adventures? Mike continued in his caption. Before the show, we would take off together to places we never knew existed with no destination in mind, and just the shared passion to discover something interesting and historic. Their never-ending curiosity and passion for unveiling America's hidden treasures kept audiences captivated for over a decade. My childhood was spent next to my dad, curled up on the couch weekend mornings, watching American Pickers. It's a bond with my father I grew up with, and now as an adult, we will go to antique shops and rummage sales. This absolutely breaks my heart to hear. I have so much admiration to you both. One fan commented on Mike's tribute post. My best friend from childhood passed away 6 years ago today. He and I would watch this show together. Then we both had kids, and we watched the show with our kids. Then we would talk about what our kids found interesting about the show. So sorry for your loss, Mike. You both made a good team, another fan reminisced. Sorry for your loss, brother. You guys were a great duo. He will be missed, someone else exclaimed. Meanwhile, as Mike grieves, he's just grateful to have made good with his sidekick. We've been on countless trips and shared so many miles, and I feel blessed that I was there by his side when he took one last journey home. Mike closed his caption. I love you, buddy, and will miss you so much. I know you're in a better place. Mike Wolfe, the beloved host of American Pickers, took to social media recently to share a deeply emotional tribute to his longtime friend and former co-star, Frank Fritz. The post, which tugged at the heartstrings of fans across the country, was filled with nostalgia, raw emotion, and an outpouring of love for the man who had been by his side for so many years. The two had been an inseparable duo for over a decade on American Pickers, scouring the country for hidden treasures and forgotten relics, all while sharing the kind of camaraderie that could only come from years of friendship. Frank, often referred to as the dreamer by Mike, had an infectious passion for the unusual and the eccentric, never afraid to follow his gut instinct, even when it meant digging through the most unexpected places. In his heartfelt post, Mike opened up about how deeply Frank's absence had been felt in his life since they parted ways on the show, reminiscing about their shared experiences and the many adventures they had. The story was less about the physical objects they uncovered and more about the bond they had forged throughout their journey. Frank was more than just my partner in picks. He was my brother, Mike wrote. We didn't always agree on things, and Lord knows we could argue like family, but Frank's spirit was unmatched. He saw the beauty in things most people overlooked, items that told a story, items that meant something even if they were rusted and falling apart. That was Frank's gift. He was a dreamer. Mike's tribute carried a sense of melancholy as he acknowledged the struggles Frank had been facing in recent years. Health problems had forced Frank off the show in 2020, and it became clear that his absence was not only professional but deeply personal. Frank's battles with addiction and a serious stroke left a gaping hole in both Mike's life and in the hearts of millions of viewers who had grown to love the warm, quirky man who had always been willing to take a chance on an old piece of junk in hopes it held more than met the eye. There were days when Frank's optimism kept us going, Mike continued. Even when the pickings were slim, when the days were long, or when the road seemed never-ending, Frank believed in the possibility of finding that one thing that would make it all worth it. His dreams were bigger than the finds themselves. He believed in magic, the kind that can only come from trusting the journey, from digging through piles of forgotten history to discover something that still had life in it. The post shifted to the memories Mike held closest to his heart, those moments behind the scenes that the cameras never captured. Mike spoke of late-night conversations in small-town diners, of the laughter that echoed through empty barns as they unearthed strange and wonderful objects, and of the quiet moments spent in reflection as they realized how lucky they were to be doing what they loved together. Frank and I were just two kids with a love for antiques and a dream to make something out of that passion, Mike reminisced. We hit the road with a lot of hope and not much else. But together, we built something. We built a life, a family of pickers, and shared that love with all of you. The real treasures were never the things we found. It was the journey we took together. As the post went on, Mike's tone became more somber, reflecting the harsh realities of the struggles Frank had faced in recent years. His departure from American Pickers had been bittersweet, but Mike expressed nothing but compassion for the difficulties Frank was enduring. Life isn't always kind. Frank's had his share of battles, and he's fought hard, Mike admitted. It breaks my heart to see what he's going through, but I know he's still got that same fighting spirit inside him. He's still dreaming, still believing in the possibility of tomorrow. Fans of the show were quick to flood the post with comments, sharing their own memories of Frank and expressing their sadness over his absence. Many echoed Mike's sentiments, praising Frank for his kind-heartedness, his sense of humor, and his genuine love for what he did. But it wasn't just about remembering Frank's role on American Pickers. For Mike, this post was about honoring the legacy of a friendship that had weathered both the highs and lows of life. It was about acknowledging the impact Frank had on his life, not just as a colleague, but as a friend, a brother, and a fellow dreamer. I miss him every day, Mike concluded. I miss his laugh, his jokes, the way he'd light up when we found something special. But more than anything, I miss the way he believed, in the picks, in the road ahead, in the possibility of uncovering something that would change everything. Frank taught me that you never stop dreaming, even when the days are hard, even when the road is rough. You never stop believing in magic. The tribute ended with a hopeful note, as Mike wished for Frank's continued recovery and expressed his belief that one day, their paths would cross again. He urged fans to keep Frank in their thoughts and prayers, offering a message of unity and hope for the future. We've all been on this journey together, Mike wrote. Frank may not be on the road with us right now, but he's still with us in spirit, still dreaming big. And I believe, in my heart, that the best picks are still ahead. Mike's post was a powerful reminder of the enduring bond that can form between friends, even through the toughest of times. It wasn't just a tribute to Frank Fritz the picker, but to Frank Fritz the dreamer, the man who believed in finding beauty in the forgotten and the discarded, and who never gave up on the magic of the journey.